subjunctive verbs, and we're going to talk about the irregulars. So, of course, every verb tense has irregulars, so let's see what these ones have to do. So the roots come from the negative to commands. Okay, so in our previous chapter, we talked about the negative to commands. We had no seas for ser. For dar, we had no des. For ir, we had no vayas. For estar, we had no estés. For ver, we had no veas. And for saber, we had no sepas. So that means that in the subjunctive roots, we're going to have, it's going to look like this. So the ones that we're going to talk about in our notes today are ser, and dar, and ir, and estar, and ver, and saber. Okay, so we'll have these in our notes and a place for them to write. Okay, so, sorry, let me go back to this. So another place to look for the roots for the subjunctive would be in the ustedes or the usted commands that we previously have done in this chapter. So take a second and write the roots where these are, okay? So you don't have to write the no in front of them, okay? We got these for the negative two commands, but let's go ahead and write the letter or the letters that are the root for each one of these verbs. For dar, just write the letter D. For estar, est. For ir, vaj. For saber, sep. For ser, se. And for ver, ve. So just write that in the yo form right there, in the yo box. And here we go. So the first one we're going to talk about is the verb dar. Dar means to give. So, que yo dé, que tú des, que él dé, que nosotros demos, que ellos den. It is irregular, not only because of the endings there, okay, but because of the accents on the endings. I'm going to keep presenting. You pause as you need to. The verb estar. Estar means to be, as in location or feelings, okay? So the conjugation is esté, estés, que tú estés, que nosotros estemos, que ellos estén. So notice where the accents are. Oops, I missed an accent, okay? There should be an accent on estés, and there should be an accent on estén. All except for nosotros. The verb ir. Ir means to go. Que yo vaya, que tú vayas, que él vaya, que nosotros vayamos, que ellos vayan. That I may go, that you may go, that kind of thing. The next one is saber, which means to know facts, right? We know this one's to know facts. So, que yo sepa, que tú sepas, que él sepa, que nosotros sepamos, que ellos sepan. Like that I know your name or that I know your birthday, okay? These are facts. Next one is the verb ser. Ser means to be, as in description, right? So, que yo sea, que tú seas, que él sea, que nosotros seamos, que ellos sean. That I may be, that you may be. Okay. And the one that we're going to add to our notes, because there's not a place to write them, but there is a blank there, so write this in your notes, is the verb ver. Que yo vea, que tú veas, que él vea, que nosotros veamos, que ellos vean. Write that one down, please. Notice that all the verbs that we did have a que in front of them, and I have a place for you to write that word que, because these are dependent on the first part, which can be either the present tense or an impersonal expression. So this is all the subjunctives, so they have to come after. Okay, so we're going to do a few examples. So it says, I suggest that you be responsible. So in the parentheses there, I give you the verb sugerir, which is going to be in the present tense. And I give you the verb said, which is going to be in the subjunctive. So take a second and write that one. And the second one says, I hope that he is at the park. So the present tense would be esperar, and the subjunctive would be estar. So take a second, use your notes, and write that. Here we go. I suggest that you be responsible. Yo something, que tú something responsable. So what would the verb for suggest be in the present tense? Yo sugiero que tú, what's this verb going to be in the to form? Seas responsable. Okay, the second one says, you hope that he is at the park. So I need the yo form of esperar. So that'd be yo espero que él, and what will estar be? The él form of estar? Esté en el parque. All right. Let's go to the next two. It says, we fear that they don't know to respect the other people. Okay, so the present tense will be temer. Saber is the subjunctive. We doubt that he feeds the dog. Ooh, that would be bad. Okay, so dudar would be in the present tense, and dar will be in the subjunctive. So what is the nosotros form of temer? Nosotros tememos que ellos no. What is the no, ellos form of saber? Sepan respetar a los demás. Okay, so nosotros tememos que ellos no sepan respetar a los demás. Then it says, we doubt that he feeds the dog. Okay, so what is the nosotros form of dudar? Nosotros dudamos que él, and what is that verb for he feed? He give food, okay? Él de comer al perro. That phrase dar de comer means to feed, okay? When you're talking about animals, you give to feed the dog. So que él de comer al perro. There's an accent on de. All right. Let's go to the last one. You believe that the friends go to the park, okay? So the creer is in the present tense. Ir would be in the subjunctive. Oh, and I added one. I wish that she would watch TV with me. Desear in the present. Ver would be in the subjunctive. So tú something, que los amigos something al parque. Okay, so what's the to form of creer? Tú crees que los amigos, and what will ir be in the subjunctive? Los amigos vayan al parque. Very good. And then you don't have to write number 6. I just wanted to make sure we could talk through it, okay? I wish that she would watch TV with me. So, yo, what will desear be? Yo deseo que ella, and what will ver be? Ella vea la tele conmigo. All right. Let's go to the next part. Okay, we're going to talk about subjunctive boot verbs. Okay, number 1, right here, this is at the bottom of the page. It says, number 1, verb endings in AR and ER have the same changes as they do in the present tense. So there's nothing special. We know what to do. E to IE, it's in the boot part, okay? So right here we have the verb cerrar, que yo cierre, que tú cierres, que él cierre, que nosotros cerremos, que ellos cierren. That I close, that you close, that he close, okay? Cerrar means to close. Okay, so the only thing that we're doing is adding the que in front of it and noticing the boot verb as it normally changes. If you haven't done this already, make sure you highlight the boot. That way we know what we're looking for. Let's go to the next one, the verb querer. So querer means to want. So it's just an ER verb. So que yo quiera, que tú quieras, que él quiera, que nosotros queramos, que ellos quieran. Okay, so that's to want. So just like we did in the present tense, we just conjugate it in the boot form right there. Another ER verb is volver. to return, que yo vuelva, que tú vuelvas, que él vuelva, que volvamos, que vuelvan. Okay, so that was an O to UE one, and it means to return. So we know that AR verbs have some kind of E in them, and ER verbs have some kind of A in them. Okay, so that was good. These is AR and ER ending verbs. Let's go to the next one. So in the subjunctive, IR verbs are double-sided boot verbs. Okay, so I drew you a boot right there, and I drew you a little box with dots out here on the right side. Okay, so they would change inside the boot and right there in the nosotros. So look on the left side of your screen. E to IE verbs in the nosotros form would change to an I. E to I verbs would change to plain I. O to UE verbs would change to a U. So you know I always give you what's in parentheses. It's just important that you know what to do with it. So let's look at this first one, which is divertirse. So divertirse means to have fun. Please write that down somewhere. Divertirse means to have fun. So in the yo tú, let's look on the inside of the boot. It says que yo me divierta, que tú te diviertas, que él se divierta. Look at the ellos, que ellos se diviertan. So those are what's in the normal boot. Look at the we form, que nosotros nos divirtamos. So that instead of an IE, it just changed to an I. So the double-sided boot verb would change to an I in there. The next one is the verb dormir. Okay, so it says an O to UE, so that means that on the we form it changed just to a U. So look on the inside of the boot first. Que yo duerma, que tú duermas, que él duerma, que ellos duerman. And on the outside of the boot, it says que nosotros durmamos. So that UE changed to a U. One more like this. The verb pedir. Pedir is an E to I boot verb, and on the outside, it's just an I on the we form. So, que yo pida, que tú pidas, que él pida, que ellos pidan. Now look at the we form. Pidamos. So it just happens that it's an E to I on the inside and just an I on the outside. So you see how I call it a double-sided boot verb there. So we're going to do a few examples. It's important that you close the door. Okay, so I notice I give you cerrar and I tell you E to IE, comma, I. Okay, so we know what it changes inside and outside if we need it. So I did this with impersonal statements. It's important that you close the door. So es importante que. So what's that to form of the verb cerrar going to be? Cierres la puerta. Que tú cierres la puerta. Okay. It's good that I return soon. That I return soon. Okay, I guess it would be that I am returning. So es bueno que yo. And so what would be I am returning? Que yo vuelva pronto. Okay, let's go to the next one. It's important that they have fun. So it's that verb divertirse that we did in our notes there. Okay, so es importante que ellos. So how do I conjugate divertirse? I got to move that se to the front. Que ellos se diviertan. Okay, so far we haven't seen the double-sided, and we're about to, okay? This is going to be in the we form. It's necessary that we all sleep here. So, es necesario que nosotros. And so what's the we form of dormir? Durmamos aquí. Okay, so you see how we changed that O to a U in the we form. It's important that he asks for help. Okay, so we're back to the he form here. So es importante que él, accent on the él, okay, que él. So what will pedir be? Pida ayuda. Okay, So I did one more. I said it's imperative. This should be actually number 6. So it's imperative that we study for this test. So es imperativo, imprescindible, something like that. Que nosotros estudiemos para esta prueba. Okay, so just a little practice round there. One last thing. There are other IR ending boots, okay? And I have them right there on your paper. So we have sentirse, reírse, morir. Okay, so to feel, to laugh, to die. And it tells you what it changes on the inside and the outside of the boot. So let's do sentirse first. So it'd be que yo me siente, because it's a reflexive, que yo me siente. And then on the outside is que nosotros sintemos. I just noticed that I did that one wrong. It's an IR verb, so it should have A's in them. Que yo me sienta and que nosotros nos sintamos. There it is, with an amos. Okay, the next one, it says reírse. Que yo me ría. Let's put an accent on that I. Que nosotros nos riamos. Man, I did these wrong. This is an IR ending verb, so it has A's in them. Riamos. And then for morir, que yo muera and que nosotros muramos. It's an O to UE root verb. Looks like I didn't do a good job spell checking this. Okay, so let's define all the verbs on the list. Okay, we got preferir, to prefer, repetir is to laugh, morir is to die. There's a place for you to write these. Vestirse is to dress, seguir is to follow, and conseguir is to get.